Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Gene Curl, and this is another exciting episode of The Adventures of Elder Curl, where I read my missionary journal that I kept while I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And this is episode 45, and I'm going to just start off reading where I left off on the last episode. Thursday, the 8th of July, 2004, mostly clear but some rain, light wind, hot. We had interviews with President Hawkins this morning at the Tabernacle. When Sister Hawkins talked to me, she talked to me first. She asked about my family, so I told her my situation. She asked what I planned on doing after my mission, so I told her that I was not rightly sure, but I am praying that I will know by the time that I get on the airplane to go home. She told me that I should be more specific in my prayers to know more before I go home. I then told her that I really think that I'll go to Missouri after Christmas and perhaps be a police officer or a Navy officer after college. I told her that that's my plan, but I just need to see if that is what the Lord wants me to do. Sister Hawkins told me she thinks not going home is a good idea, as is going to Missouri. She also told me that she can understand my situation because her father was an alcoholic. Sister Hawkins also told me that she has a great faith in me. She asked me my favorite scriptures, so I gave her Doctrines and Covenants 31, 3-5, and 9, 12, and through 13. She also asked me what I consider to be the greatest accomplishment of my life and what are my strengths. When President Hawkins talked to me, I also told him about my family, and he also thought that staying in Idaho was a bad idea, and going to Missouri is a good idea. President Hawkins told me that he thinks that I write very well and that I should try to go into writing. He is very impressed with my writing because I have never been to school, and he thinks that I have a lot of potential. President Hawkins told me that by the next interview he wants me to have come up with 3 objectives to accomplish before I go home. I told President about how I joined the church and why I came on my mission, and I even told him about my dream that I had before I joined the church. President Hawkins asked how I survived, so I told him that the Lord helped me through it. He also thinks that I should find out what the Lord would have me do after my mission before I go home. Before I talked to President Hawkins, I was a little worried because I did not know what to expect, but now I know that I am really going to love the Hawkins, and I know that they will love all of the missionaries. After interviews, Elder G and I went to see T-Rose and Neros and wanted to teach them, but they dogged us, so we went to see which street we would put the flyers on and track next. And then we got more copies of the flyer. After lunch, we had to go back to the Tabernacle for zone meeting. President Hawkins has already changed a lot of things, such as district meeting is now zone meeting, and in it, we don't report numbers. In zone conference, we report zone numbers and not area numbers. Also in zone meeting, the zone leaders will train for the first half, and then everyone will split into their districts and the district leaders will train. President Hawkins also wants us to wear our whites when we play sports with members. After district, or actually zone meeting, we had to rush to meet Brother F for a team up, but he was not home, so we went to teach K by ourselves. But she was not home either, so we tried to follow up on people until it was time to go to the R family. Only Frank and Cynthia were home. So we taught them the first discussion. It went well, but they were unable to set up a return appointment because of their schedules. We had dinner with the F family, but only the children were home. Sister F had left a casserole on the table for us, so we finished it all, but then felt bloated. When we left, everyone had fallen asleep in front of the television or elsewhere, so we did not wake them up, we just left. We spent the rest of the evening following up on members who had made commitments to do something and then trying to visit the members in Pacific Heights. All of the members in Pacific Heights had already went to bed, so we never did get to visit any of them. I have been thinking a lot about what I want my 3 objectives to be that I'll accomplish before I go home, but I'm not sure yet. I will continue to pray about it, and I'll also pray about what I want to do after my mission is over. I think that I'll go to Missouri. I'll only not go if the Lord tells me not to. Friday, the 9th of July, 2004. Clear, hot, light wind. Well, every appointment canceled today. We passed out our flyers on KES Street, and then we went to see Brother E at 11. We were supposed to teach Nadine, but she was not there. We waited for her a little while and played dominoes with Brother K. We had an early lunch at the pad, changed into our suits, and then went to the tabernacle. We were supposed to park all of the mission cars at the Central Union Church, but when we got there to start parking cars, we were told that no one could park there until we showed them written proof. So Elder G and I ran to the mission office to get a copy of the letter. The copy is in the back of this journal. And then ran back and it solved the problem. As I waited for the mission cars, I would give away pass-along cards to the people that passed by on the sidewalk. Everyone had to be in their seats by 12:30. Elder Robert D. Hales came about 1300 and shook everyone's hand and was near the hall. I also got to shake his hand because my seat was by the hall. Sister Hawkins, President Hawkins, Sister Hales, and Elder Hales spoke. I'll not write down what they spoke about because I took a lot of notes. After the meeting, Elder Hales shook everyone's hand. Elder G and I met Gurina to teach, but she said that she was sick, so we could not teach it. We had dinner with the M family, and they took us to Zippy's. After dinner, we had an appointment with Gerard, but he had to cancel. We had an appointment to visit John with the bishop, but he canceled. Just before we went home, we stopped by and talked shortly with John. John's mother gave us a pre-cooked lobster to take home. Most island people are so loving and sharing. Saturday, the 10th of July, 2004. Mostly clear, calm, and hot. Tonight it rained and the wind blew. We tracked it most of the morning and taught 2 discussions. One to an old man named K, who is not the least bit interested in having us back. And we taught one to a drunk retired senator. We told him that he could be with his wife forever, but he said that he is not sure that she would want to be with him for that long. Steve, the drunk, who told Elder R and I that he killed people, was also there when we taught. The drunk senator because he is his best friend. We had lunch at the pad. For breakfast, we had the lobster that John's aunt gave us. After lunch, we visited inactive people. Most of the ones that we tried had moved it. We stopped by to see Adrian and wound up teaching him and his sister Delreen and her boyfriend, Wayne. It went well until Wayne started to try to convince us that there might not be a heaven or hell, or even a God. Everyone did agree to read some of the Book of Mormon with and pray to see if it is true. We just did follow-up visits for a half an hour or so, then we tracked it a little and then met a man from Joplin, Missouri. What a small world. It would be really cool to say that we taught him and he wants to be baptized, but he was not really interested, though he was very nice and even offered us something to drink. When I talked to President Hawkins, he asked me to set a goal for 3 things that I want to accomplish before I go home, and since then I have been praying to know what I should have as my goals. Tonight when we had dinner with our family, the Lord answered my prayer in a weird way. I don't really remember what we were talking about, but I made a comment and Sister R said, "Elder Curl, you always have a story to share, and sometimes it does not go along with what you are talking about. Perhaps you should write a book." I think that she meant to say, write a book instead of talking so that we don't have to listen to you. So now I think that one of my goals will be to talk less and make sure that what I say is completely relevant to what is being talked about. I probably open my mouth too much anyway. Besides, you should not speak unless it is an improvement over the silence. We spent the rest of the night visiting inactive and active members who we have left commitments with. Sunday, the 11th of July, 2004. Clear part of the day, but most of the day was cloudy with rain and a a fair wind, hot. Not much to say about the early morning meetings, except that we had them. After PEC, we went to get John, but he was nowhere to be found. He never did show up to church today, so he was not confirmed. I am worried about him. Julie and her husband Clifford came, as did Gerard. We had to teach the 14-year-old class today, but Elder G did most of the teaching. It was like pulling teeth to get them to talk. We had lunch at the pad, and then we went to see Julie and Clifford and showed them a video. We did a few follow-up visits with them at around 16:15. Mike and Abraham T. picked us up, and then we picked up Adrian, and we went to the BYU Commons Center to hear Elder Robert D. Hales speak to the single adults. When we got there, I could see why we have to have a very good reason before we are allowed to go to BYU as missionaries, because there are way too many pretty single girls. The fireside was very good. Elder Hales broke our lives into decades. The first 10 years, everything was decided for you. The second decade is preparatory decade, and the 20s and 30 decade is the decade of decisions. You must decide if you will serve a mission, if you will remain active, who you will marry. He said this was the most important decision: your education and work and your friends. Adrian said that he liked it, and we were able to get him to meet Elder Hales. On the way back home, I taught him the fourth discussion and part of the second in an answer to his question. We got home right on time. Monday, the 12th of July, 2004. Rain part of the day, clear part of the day, moderate wind, hot. Just as we started devotional, Elders P and C showed up because P nor C knew where the stake center for Honolulu West is, and Elder P needed to pick up something for his training. So I went with Elder C to the tabernacle so I could tell everyone how to get there, and Elder G took Elder P to Kmart. We all got to the Honolulu West Stake Center around 900, but Zone Conference did not start until after 10. President Hawkins is a lot more friendly and down-to-earth than President Willis was. I miss President Willis, but I always love President and Sister Hawkins because they love us missionaries. President Hawkins made me relate a story that I told him in one of my president letters. It was a little strange being called on because I have been out for over 19 months, and this was the first time that I have been called on for anything at Zone Conference. At lunch, President Hawkins insisted on being the last person to get his food. After lunch, Sister Hawkins had us all sing primary songs for all the local sisters who provided lunch for us. Sister Hawkins is really into primary because she served on the primary general board. President said we must all convert to primary or Sister Hawkins will cut our heads off. I really enjoyed this first Zone Conference with President Hawkins. Sister C has fallen in love with my chubby shirt and told me that she would do anything to get one, so I told her that I would write to my mother and see what I could do. I told her that if my mother has not sent me one by the time she goes home, that I will bring her one when I go to Utah to visit President Willis. When Elder G and I got back to our area, we tried to visit a few people, and then we tracked it until about 1830, and then visited John and tried to get him to come to the Ward Singles family home evening for the young adults. We had appointments with the E family to do the 6-step program, but when we found out that Sister E, brother and Sister E are literal brothers and sister, works for the church raising money, we got sidetracked and talked about her job until it was time to come home. Neither Elder G or I knew that the church paid people to raise money. I learn something new every day, and if I don't, then that day is a total waste. Tuesday, the 13th of July, 2004. It rained hard this morning, but the rest of the day was clear and hot with a light breeze. Around 11, we went to Elder G's, the district leader's pad for a while, and then went shopping. I had Elder G cut my hair. I wrote a letter to Mom, to Heidi B, to my aunt and uncle, Bill and Linda. I received an application for absentee ballot. Around 1830, Sister V came by to drop off dinner. Elder W. called to tell us that Sister A. from the Waianae ward called and asked that someone give Brother S. a blessing because he was in a car wreck on Saturday. Elder G. anointed and I sealed the anointing. I don't know why, but in the blessing I was prompted to say that he would regain his sight. Sometimes like tonight, I am worried and nervous when I have to give a blessing, and sometimes I'm afraid that I won't say the right thing. We stopped by the chapel to talk to the bishop about John. Wednesday the 14th of July 2004. Mostly clear, but it rained a little, light wind, hot. We had 3 appointments today, but they all canceled before we were through with personal study. We had a week planned, wrote our president's letters, and then had lunch. I received a package from my mother with an Idaho flag, the wedding engagement section from the paper, and a letter in which she told me that Joan got fired because she would not leave the guy alone that she has been dating, and her boss put a temporary restraining order against her, or at least that's what it sounded like. We visited Cynthia R. and then visited the L family. He told us an experience that happened at college before his mission. When he was going to school at the University of Idaho in Moscow, him and a friend put a couple of people on the home teaching list as a joke that they believed to be non-members or made up names, and when he came back from his mission, he discovered that both people had been inactive members who when visited, came back. We taught Gorina the first discussion and then taught T-Rose and Neros the second discussion. We visited a few members, had dinner at Subway, and then switched companions. I went to Manoa with Elder P, and Elder G went with my area with Elder G. Tuesday, the 15th of July, 2004. Mostly clear and hot with moderate wind. It rained after dark a little. At 7, all of my district, the zone leaders, and the 2 senior office elders met at the tabernacle to go move things out of the apartment that the couple who went to Christmas Island left. Most of the stuff was to be taken to Kaneohe. Elder P and I really did not need to go, so we stayed and did missionary work. We did a lot of street contacting today, but was only able to teach one person from it and did not meet as many people as we had hoped. I planned on buying lunch for the both of us, but just before lunch time, some tourists from Utah, John and his wife Clarissa, bought us lunch at Taco Bell. Just before dinner, we visited the recent convert, Raphael and Negumi. Negumi is blind and has a very friendly seeing eye dog. They both, but especially Raphael, has a very strange testimony. We had dinner with a Samoan family at the L family. They fixed barbecue for dinner. Elder P was a little dumb and tried to argue with them about what a something bowl is called in Samoan, so I hit him in his ribs with my elbow. Sister L noticed too. I said to Elder P, "They are from Samoa and you're from Fiji. Don't argue with them about Samoan words." Before we left, I shared the story and invited them to invite a friend to church. We were supposed to meet Elder G and Elder G at my pad at 20:30, but we got there at 21:00. Oh well. I should go on team ups with Elder P more often so that I can drive the new Chevy Malibu. I really enjoyed driving it today. I received a letter from Mom. Friday the 16th of July 2004. Mostly clear today, but there were a few light showers, hot and windy. We had to go to Kailua this morning so that I could see Dr. M. I am happy that I only have to come back one more time. The next time I come, he will put the crown on and I will be through. We ate lunch at the pad and then visited Randy C. We read the Book of Mormon with him and then prayed with him. From here we walked all the way around the area visiting everyone we could think of on the way. We tracked it just before dinner but did not teach anyone. Sister P gave us dinner which we ate at the pad. After dinner we went walking again, trying to see all the inactive people in our general area close to our house. We also visited the R family. They are a fun young family with 2 little girls. We ended the night with a visit to an inactive part-member family type home. There is a lot of potential in that home to teach. We left a reading assignment with a non-member who lives there. Saturday, the 17th of July, 2004. Mostly clear and hot with a moderate wind. We borrowed the bishop's circular saw, and after we dropped it off at our pad, we went tracting. We tracted until lunch, but did not teach anyone. We had lunch at the pad. We stopped at John's house to see him, but was told that he was at the park. Somehow Elder G convinced me to play a quick game with John and his brothers, so it was 2-on-2. I kind of feel bad about it because I am not really sure if we were allowed to do it or not. We next visited Tim E. We found him through the old records. I called him a few days ago and he told us to come by at 1400 today. Right off, he wanted to show us stuff out of some anti-Mormon books, so we told him for about 10 minutes why the books are bad. Among other things, the books are only designed to start arguments, which is a plan of the devil. He put the books away, and we wasted about 2 hours with him. He wanted to convince us that our beliefs are wrong. We told him why we are the only one with the authority and bore testimony, and committed him to read a few things in the Book of Mormon and to pray about it. When he said that he prayed before he had not received an answer, I told him that it was because the Lord is not trying to show you it's true. You're trying to prove it's false at the same time. You're praying about it. I think that the only reason he believes the Bible is because there has been some proof. I told him what Christ said in the New Testament, a wicked and perverse generation seeketh after a sign. And told him that he would never know by signs if our church is true, but by the Spirit. We visited the K family to see if Brother K would let us teach the kids. He was not home, and we played a quick card game with the kids and left. Around 1830, we had dinner with the L family. We were supposed to be there by 1800, but it took a while to find the place to park. After dinner, we talked about the gospel for a while. The rest of the night was pretty uneventful. Sunday, the 18th of July, 2004. Mostly clear, hot, light wind. Light rain after dark. Just before PEC was over, we went to get John and his family to go to church. When we got there, John was not there, and Neros and T-Rose were not allowed to go because they had been bad. Sonny, John's brother, was the only one to come by, and he only stayed for priesthood. I had to give the missionary moment in sacrament meeting, and I did not know what I would say until I got to the podium. Clifford and Julie said they would come to church, but this morning Julie was sick, so they did not come. I am very disappointed that John did not come and get confirmed. After church, we stopped at the pad to change and then went to the F family for lunch. Sister F lectured us a little about marriage and our after-mission lives. We picked up Mike T at his house to take him to team up. We visited Clifford and Julie P and watched Together Forever with him. We then visited Paul B, a less active 24-year-old Army man. We dropped Mike off, and then we visited Tahoe Inn, media referral, and taught her the first discussion. She is from Vietnam and can't speak English great, but can understand and speak it fairly well. We had dinner at the pad and then visited inactives the rest of the night. Monday, the 19th of July, 2004, clear, hot, light wind. At 7 this morning, the whole zone, except for the anti-social elders S and O, came to the tab for a zone breakfast. Elder G, Elder P, and Elder H, Sister C, Sister I, cooked while waiting for the food. I wrote Mom and Grandma. After breakfast, Elder P, Elder C, Elder G, Elder C, Elders at Texas and Japan, I can't remember the names, Elder H and I played cranium. After a while, Elder G and Elder H left, so Sister C and I split up and Elder P was on my team, and Japan was on Sister C's team. We had a lot of fun and played for a few hours. Played for 4 hours. Elder G and I went to Elder G, the district leader's pad, for a while, and then Elder G went shopping with us, and we bought pizza for lunch. Around 1400, we came back to our own pad and started working on the floor and did not finish until about 1820. There was a lot of termite damage, so we took up some damaged floor and replaced it with plywood. While I was outside cutting the plywood, Elder G fell through the hole in the floor and hurt his foot bad. I think that it might be broken. I finished the rest of by myself. The repairs section is approximately 1.5 by 6, and there's still about 5 places to be repaired. I'll likely get transferred before it is finished. We had dinner with the E family, and they kept us a little long, so after dinner we came home. Elder G was in pain and went right to bed, so I planned out the day by myself and closed the day with a prayer. Tuesday, the 20th of July, 2004, clear, hot, light wind. District meeting was kind of fun because both Elder P and Elder G had us play a game before their training. After district meeting, some of us had lunch at McDonald's. On the way back to our area, Elder G had something that he wanted to drop off, so we stopped at the office. When we got back to our area, we did a Book of Mormon read with John and tried to get him excited about receiving the Holy Ghost. I received a letter from Heidi B., in which she told me that their neighbor kid drowned in the pool. I didn't even know that the B family had a pool, but then again, I've never been to their new house. We did a lot of follow-up visits today and talked to inactives. One lady, her name is Nukandong. I just wrote it because it is fun to say. Our dinner just dropped the food off at our house, and I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't chicken. I have had so much chicken on my mission that I am almost sick of it. Oh well, we tracked it for 2 hours, but we tracked it 2 streets, but did not teach anyone. This will be I think that'll be the last for today. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to comment down below, and I will do my best to get to your comments. With that said, I really appreciate you watching this episode, and I hope to tune in for the next episode.